Hey, beauty pros, welcome to Beauty Business Breakthroughs. My name is Shara, your guide to success in the beauty industry. In each episode, I'm going to be sharing my tips, tricks, and real life experiences. Plus, we'll bring in industry experts to drop their game-changing advice. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, get ready for practical insights that will elevate your beauty business. Let's dive in. And thank you again for joining us today. I have the pleasure of chatting with Aqura. Aqura, thank you so much for joining us as well.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
Awesome. So go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself and your background, all that good stuff.
Yes. So my name is Aqura Nicholson, and I am a money coach for part-time and full-time women entrepreneurs. And what I help them do is I help them manage money simple, easy, and unrestricted to where they can not only earn money and be confident, but they can spend money and be confident, because that's what we want to do. And that's what we should be able to do, because we spend so much of our life working and earning money. It's like, why not be able to be confident about earning it and spending it as well?
I love that. I love that. It reminds me, back probably 10 years ago, I was in the mortgage industry, and we would have, I'm sure you're familiar with the mortgage industry. It's like a roller coaster. You've got your good days and your bad days. And so that means you've got your good months of income and your bad months. And so I was very much used to working the overtime. It was unlimited as long as we were being productive, things of that nature. And then all of a sudden they went, okay, stop working unlimited overtime. And now we want you to request it and get approval and this, that, and the other. And so while that's great, and I understand the concept, that puts a monkey wrench, right? Or yeah, I think it's called that. It puts a wrench in your finances. And I'm like, oh no. And while I was making great money, I'm like, I don't want to have to think about, can I afford to do this? Or is this in my budget? And things along those lines. So what did I do? I went out and got a second job, right? So that I could afford to be able to do those things that I wanted to, if I wanted to go on vacation or splurge on something. So I very much know and understand that concept. And I love the ability to be able to do that, not only then, but now in my own business. And I'm sure it would be a great concept or idea for me to live by a budget. And don't get me wrong, I'm frugal, but being able to spend money and not think about, is this going to put me over? Is this going to, I need to think about where I'm driving this week because gas is really expensive and I can't afford to waste gas.
Yes, that's so good. And you hit it right on the nail. A lot of times we're like, oh, we can't do this until we make more money, or we need $30,000 more in order to be able to do something. And so just the thought of thinking that we can't do it until we get to a certain place makes us not even try with the money that we have right now. So we lose track of the money that we could be using intentionally towards some of those things. And I'm not someone who is, you need a budget, you need to track it. I can't stand it. I don't want to spend my time there. When I look at my money, I want to be thinking about, okay, what vacation do I have coming up? Okay, can I go out and get a new shirt from wherever I want to? I don't want to be sitting down tracking things. That is taking up too much of my time. So one thing that I really like to teach my clients and women is you can do this without a strict budget. And the way I implement that for myself is just like to separate my accounts, because a lot of times we think that a budget is going to restrict us when really it's just showing you what you should be doing in theory. And then when you try to implement it in reality, it's, oh, but it didn't work. I'm like 2 days into this. What the heck am I supposed to do? So what I do is I separate things out so I can clearly see, this is my money for bills. I'm not going to also use that account to spend money at Target. Now I don't have to think about, I get to the register. Oh, did this bill process? Oh, let me do some mental math. Oh, do I need to? No, I don't have time for that. I don't want to track. I don't want any extra thing. I just want to be able to spend money. know how much I have to spend, be able to not second guess myself, not question myself every time I want to swipe my card or whatever. Yeah, I love what you're saying. We don't want all of that extra work on top of running a business, on top of being
Right.
parents, on top of being spouses, all that stuff. It's
Right.
like, can money just be simple, easy, and unrestricted? And that is what I'm all about.
Girl, I feel you on that. And I love how you said that because that's actually something that I used to do when I was, for the lack of a better word, a wage earner, right? An employee. And I don't even think I did it like consciously. Like it wasn't much like you're doing, right? It's just, I think I got paid twice a month. I would take half of my mortgage out of each check that I got paid, and I would set that aside into its own account. And then I had, my savings account, and then I had this account. And again, I didn't do it as much as you did, but I did somewhat have that idea. But I think you're absolutely right. Like the times that I have tried to map out a budget, whether it's a personal budget or a business budget, that thing goes out the window. I think it's more of a guide, like you said, where it gives you an idea of, okay, this is about what it costs for me to live. This is what I need in order to survive. This is about how much I spend. And it's a lot easier, of course, with those fixed expenses, right? Our utilities and mortgage and insurance. But then when you get into gas, groceries, meals, entertainment, all of those things that are variable, it's so much harder for you to really figure out like how much you're spending, what's a good amount, what's a not a good amount. But I do like your idea of actually breaking that up. And so I can even see for myself what I would be doing when it comes to my business, right? Maybe you have your supplies expenses in one account. You know that, okay, this is where I've got budgeted for my supplies. Okay, this is where my rent comes out of, or my studio fee or chair fee. This is where I pay for my advertising. This is where I pay for whatever. You can break it down into however simple or as complex, but I do like that idea. And I have several bank accounts, but I don't use them like you're suggesting.
Yeah. And I do this for my business too. And it's funny, I literally just got done recording a like freebie training on this specific thing. So this is so timely for us to be talking
Right.
about it. But how I think in my business is, okay, I know I'm generating revenue, regardless of where that revenue comes from, have that as a separate account. I have an owner's draw account. And that comes directly from the personal side. Is okay, what do I need in my personal life? We just talked about this. Okay,
Right.
that's how much money needs to be in my owner's draw. And that also like triggers you to see you need to pay yourself. You are making money in your business to pay yourself. You don't have to sit there and invest all the money back into your business. You genuinely can take care of yourself and run a business successfully. So every time I see that, I'm like, oh yeah, that's why I'm doing this. So the owner's draw account, the operating expenses, and that's where you see things like your rent, your supplies, whatever subscriptions you have, or whatever you need to run your business on a day-to-day basis, and taxes. Don't forget about taxes. You never
Girl.
want to get hit with a big number. If you're working with a CPA or an accountant, they give you quarterly estimated. Make sure that you have a totally separate place. You're putting that aside. You see the word taxes on it. It's taken care of. And again, just seeing those things laid out allows you to have so much more relief, because now you're not trying to figure out from one account, like, oh, what goes where? Do I have enough to pay myself? Did I put enough money aside for taxes? How much of this can I spend because I want to make this? It's so much less complicated when you can just separate it out. That way, if you do have a high month, your revenue account should have more money in it because it's not in the, like, it just makes it so much clearer to see everything broken down and know, like, when you have that extra money, you can make a decision on what you want to do with it and not be like, oh, is this extra money or is this supposed to be like, did I miss paying something? Like, what is this
Right.
extra stuff in here?
No, I completely agree. And it's funny because I can probably guarantee that a lot of the women or even men who are listening to us right now, if we were to ask them, how much are they taking home? How much are they paying themselves? I can pretty much guarantee that they probably have no idea. Right.
Yeah.
And so I know for myself, when I was providing services in the beginning, I had a job, right? I had my wage earner job. And so me providing services was extra income. And so in the beginning, I was taking a lot of that money and those earnings, and I was reinvesting it back into my business in order to grow my business. Right. And I was taking some money, but it wasn't like a salary. It wasn't a set amount, any of that kind of stuff. It was definitely like, okay, as I needed it or whatever. So it wasn't until about 12 months in running this business and releasing courses where obviously the income grew that I'm like, okay, I'm making really good money. Now I can afford to pay myself. And every month, that little money gets transferred into, I say little money, but my wage as a business owner gets transferred from my business account to my personal account. And that's the account that I pay my mortgage and my taxes and my insurance on all my little personal expenses or whatever that I have. But again, my focus in saying this is it's really important for us to know that, like you said, we're in business to make money, right? And making money isn't just the gross. We're in this to take home money for our personal lives, whether it's our home and vacations and all of those things. So it's important for us to sit back and go, okay, how much am I taking home? What is my net pay? Can I afford to pay myself? I'm just going to throw out simple numbers, $2,500 a month, right? Can I afford to pay myself $5,000 a month? Whatever it is that you need to live by. And then, like you said, once you figure out those things, you're also looking at your taxes and setting aside, maybe it's different amounts or different percentages, however you're going to break it up. But then you're able to see exactly, hey, I've got 10% going here, 25% going there, and however. And then at the end of the month, I've got this overage of $1,500 or $15,000 or whatever the numbers are. And then you can truly see exactly how much your numbers are growing. Because like you said, you've got those amounts that are set aside.
Exactly. It makes it so easy. And even just starting out, if people are like, I know I'm going to have to invest a lot of money in my business, that's okay. Still go ahead and set it up this way. That way you won't get in a habit of not paying yourself and not even seeing that you are supposed to. Just again, seeing that account that's like owner's draw or like boss lady or whatever it is that you want to name it. That's what mine is called. Mine is called boss woman. And it's
I
like
love it.
it's for you to pay yourself. So you don't get in the habit of, oh, I'm investing money, I'm investing money, I'm investing money. You look up and it's now I got to go back to a job because I never took care of myself with my business, which is the whole point in the first place. Like you have to run your business. Like your business can't survive without you right now. So you have to
Right.
take care of yourself.
Absolutely. So I have one question, but then I also wanted to just comment on that. So I know somebody who I had counseled or mentored where there was partners. And so what they were doing was like taking, they were dividing up the money at the end of the month, right? Whatever was left over. And they were like dividing it at the end of the month, but then that's what they were using to live off of. And so they didn't have money to like set aside before they were dividing it to go for advertising and rent and all of their overhead expenses. So then for the next month, driving more business was a challenge because now they're like scrambling to try and figure out like, how are they going to pay for the rent? Or they don't have money to pay for advertising because obviously the advertising will sometimes bring in more business and things of that nature. And I'm like, what in the heck are you doing? You mean to tell me you siphon everything out? No, you should be dividing it maybe $5,000 a month. I don't know. I just feel like $5,000 a month is a reasonable wage to pay yourself, especially if you're doing pretty good numbers or whatever. If you're paying yourself $5,000 a month, then you're leaving that other stuff in the business account to be able to take care of those other things, right?
So here's the thing. You want to do the opposite. You pay yourself and then you figure out where everything else needs to go. So here's what I mean. First of all, let's figure out how much you need to be paying yourself. But let's get clear about that. How much do you actually need to cover your baseline? So your bills, your mortgage. You're not questioning, is my mortgage going to be late? Is my like all that stuff? Let's figure that out. And let's say you land on $4,000. Every month, I need you to pay yourself $4,000. If then you don't have enough to take care of marketing, or then you don't have enough to take care of whatever it is in your business, how can we leverage debt? How can we leverage saving? But you have to take care of yourself or you won't be able to run a business. Like you're going to take yourself out of business because you're not taking care of yourself. There's so many ways to solve for how to keep your business operating, but it means that you have to pay yourself, because when you are stressed about money, when you're trying to figure out how are you going to be showing up in your business to sell in the first place? You're going to be doing stuff out of panic, out of fear, and it's truly going to impact your business growth if you can't take care of yourself. And I think people think about it in the opposite way, and it puts so much more pressure on them. And there's so many unknowns. And also, like, how much does your business need to operate? Like, can we get specific about that so you can know how much sales do I even need to bring in? What should I be working towards? Otherwise, it's like you're just walking up a mountain with no GPS, no sort of tracker. You have no clue how much longer you have to go. It's like you're just working in the dark, essentially.
No, I completely agree. And you would really be surprised at how many service providers that I have talked to, and they're trying to figure out numbers and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, hey, let's just say, for instance, you provide XYZ service. How much does that service cost you to provide to said client? I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? You don't know how much your product costs? You don't know how much product it takes? Like, how do you not know? To me, again, I'm a numbers person. You have to back into some of these figures. So you need to know exactly how much that product costs to provide the service. How long does it take in order for you to determine how much you're going to charge and know how much you're wanting to make per hour? So when I started out providing services, that's exactly what okay, how long is it going to take me? What is the market price that people are charging? How much is it going to cost me per client for this service? What's the minimum? What's the maximum? How many supplies of this am I going to, all of those things. And like you're saying, you're suggesting, and that was actually going to be my question when I said it was like, I had to respond, but I had a question too, was, do you basically back into it where you say, hey, let me make sure that I'm covering my personal expenses first, which then means I don't have as much to buy supplies or as much to spend on advertising or whatever the other expenses are.
Exactly. You have to take care of yourself. And that means, okay, if you are working a job and you want to go full time, maybe it means 3 extra months to save for supplies that you can use for 6 months. So just to have some money in savings. And that's where it's like, oh, there's so many ways to solve for this, but we need to make sure our rent is paid, our mortgage is paid. And then it's, oh, now we actually have the mental capacity to like reverse engineer how much I need to be charging for this individual service, so I can figure out how many clients I need to take on a month or a quarter in order to be able to pay myself. Otherwise, you do not have the mental capacity to do that. And it's every month is going to be scraping by, and you're just going to run yourself into the ground, burn out. And it's now you started this business because you were so excited about it. And it just feels like another 9-to-5 job.
Oh, for sure. Most definitely. I was working with this Google Ads gal, and she had a boot camp training program or whatever. And I really took it more so for better understanding of how the Google Ads work and everything, because it's hard to hire somebody to do something you don't even have an idea of how it works. But I say that to say she had this spreadsheet, and it was most of her teaching is for local service-based businesses. And it doesn't have to be in the beauty industry, right? It could be any industry, car wash, whatever, chiropractor. But she's okay, we do the reverse engineering. How much do you want to take home per month? What is your personal salary? What is your wage? Okay. How many clients do you have per month now? Right? What is the cost or what is the value of each client for the year? Okay, now we are figuring out all of these figures and these numbers. This is going to tell us how much your gross revenue goal is for the year, how many clients you have versus what the value is, minus the how many you need, and all of those things, right? What are your expenses? And so, but again, it's the mindset of the reverse engineering. And you would be surprised at how many people, one, don't understand it, and two, don't even have an idea that the importance of that and the value of having that basic foundation that I'm always talking about. Like, you can be the best service provider, but if you don't have some of those basic business fundamentals and the education or the knowledge or the expertise, and obviously we can't be great at everything, but you still need to have some basics. You need to have that foundation in order to truly be successful in your business, right? Because if you're out here just winging it and you don't even know how much it costs to provide a service, based on the numbers, when you break it down, you're making $20 an hour, $25 an hour. You might as well go get you a job, right? Making that kind of money. Because I don't know about anybody else, but I'm seeing these numbers on TikTok and Instagram where people are charging 30 minutes to an hour and they're charging lawyer rates. So we're in this to win this.
Exactly. And another thing is when it comes to money, and this is like real like value of having a money coach, is there are so many things that we're holding on to based on our experience with money. It could be money trauma, it could be avoidance, and not recognizing that you're already dealing with that is just going to pour into your business. So what happens is your business finances just become a reflection of your finances. And I don't even know how I got there, because you didn't even know. Maybe you're operating out of scarcity. Maybe you're operating out of fear. And you just think you're bad with money, or you just think you don't understand how to do numbers. No, you really have these things impacting you and blocking your ability to see money clearly, to see money as this neutral thing, to see money as this tool that can actually help you. And that's what's stopping you from having some of those business fundamentals where you can now be profitable. You can now take care of yourself, but you're blocked by all of these money things in between that you didn't even know was there because it didn't even come up. Because when you were making money, like in your 9 to 5, it was just like, oh, it just comes to you pay every paycheck. So you don't have to think about, oh, how am I going to bring it in and things like that. So much more is uncovered when you're like running a business and you're responsible for not only providing the service, but selling the service. And that is like way more of your time than actually providing the service, is selling the service.
Oh, absolutely. And you are literally preaching to the choir, because I didn't realize that, and this kind of goes with your relationship with money. And I didn't realize, of course, until I was older and did some work within myself or whatever, not surrounding money, but I realized that your relationship with money even stems back to your childhood.
Absolutely.
Your parents, your upbringing.
Absolutely.
So I have one parent who is extremely frugal, to the point where we jokingly say cheap. It can be ridiculous at times. And so then you've got your other parent who's not good with money, irresponsible, and just not the opposite, right? And I'm using general terms so that I don't put my parents on blast. But I tend to take after one, which is the frugal side, and be a little bit more responsible. Obviously, I'm not as much as that one parent, but then I also have that mindset of knowing what the other parent is and not wanting to be that, because of some of the things that I grew up with in terms of not having money and things of that nature when my parents split, or having different surroundings. But again, it goes back to your relationship with money and literally stems from your childhood all the way up. And the other thing that I see that people have dealt with in their relationship with money is I invest in my business, right? I invest. I know that there's going to be a benefit. There's going to be a return on my investment, whether it's tangible or there's some type of measurable action, right? So whether I'm paying for a coach or I'm paying for advertising, I look at it the same. Whereas you have people who look at it as an expense. And again, it's about that shift in your mindset. And people don't even realize that they probably think that way, or that there is work within themselves that they need to do, right? Because of their relationship with money. And like you said, whether it's trauma, whether it's fear, whether it's having a scarcity mindset and all of those things, it's no, you need to go to a money coach and you need to do some healing, because I'm sure that people have heard when you've got your your fist closed, you can't receive. You can't, it's closed so tight. And that is not only in what you're giving, right, and putting out there, but it's also even when you're blocking your own blessings. You are sabotaging your own success because of your mindset, because of your actions and your relationship with money or people and things of that nature, right?
Exactly. And one of the biggest things that comes up as business owners is investment and debt.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one side of the pendulum or the other. Either it's evil, I can't do it, it's going to drain me, or I have to do it to the point where that's all you're doing and you're not even paying yourself. And so, yeah, when we talk about investments, they're just opportunities. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want another opportunity? Doesn't mean you have to take it right now, but no, that is an option that's open for you and you have a clear path to get there. Same thing for debt. Is debt something that I need to leverage this month so I can make sure I pay myself?
Absolutely.
And then I'll be able to put the money right back during a high cash flow month. That's it. It's like, that's all it is. It's neutral. No one's going to come out from under the bed and attack you. It's just neutral. It's a tool. Every part of saving, investing, debt, they're all tools to help you get to where you want to go. It's just a matter of how you're thinking about those different tools so that you can be open to receiving and also giving, like you said.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love it. So even when you're talking about the debt, that's what the rich are doing. They're leveraging their debt. That one thing I've learned, and I've always been into like numbers and money and finance and credit and things of that nature, but really got into the business credit within the last handful of years, making sure that I'm utilizing my credit that I have. It's sitting there. I might as well utilize it. I might as well let my business grow by utilizing it. And then at the same time, you can use credit or use your credit card to earn points, traveling with your points and spending your points for different things. I'm already spending the money. I know I have the money in my bank account to pay it back. I might as well use that and get those free points and spend it on other things. But that's, like I said, that's what the rich are doing for sure. They are leveraging debt and taking out loans to pay themselves and all that kind of stuff. And hey, maybe one day I'll get to that point.
Exactly. And if you look at some of these super famous companies, your Apples, your Googles, your Amazon, you can pull up their quarterly reports and see that they have outstanding debt. You can see how much cash they have. But we are like so triggered by the word debt because of all these money things that we're holding. So we aren't even open to receiving it as a tool. And this is what I mean by really unpacking some of that money stuff that you have so that you can be the CEO that you want to be for your business. And then when it comes to mimicking what the rich are doing and like the different tools that they're utilizing is okay. How can you first just be honest with where you are right now? And this is something that I talk a lot about is the paycheck to paycheck cycle, because people start to utilize stuff a little bit too early and it keeps them in a paycheck to paycheck cycle. And it's not to say you can't do those things. It's let's address this first so that when you use them, they actually work in the way that you intended for them to work. And then it doesn't backfire and then put even more stress and more trauma and just justifies what you were thinking about money to begin with. So what I tell my clients and like the people that I talk to is regardless of how much money you are earning, if the money left over after bills is not being used intentionally towards planned spending, towards whatever it is that you want to spend the money for, if it's not being used intentionally, if you're going into more and more debt each month, accruing it month after month, some known expenses like back to school clothes or Christmas shopping, but you can do the same thing for your business. So like those known expenses aren't planned for. So now when you get there, you have to use debt for it because it's like you weren't thinking ahead as much as you could. And yes, some things comes up we have no control over. But that leads me to the last one is, are you able to make progress towards savings so that you can have that cushion built up to be able to then take cash out from when those unexpected expenses do happen? So if any one of those four things are true, then you're living in a paycheck to paycheck cycle. And the only thing that means is that you just need to address one of those things or multiple one of those things before going to the next step. That's it. It doesn't mean you're broke. It doesn't mean you're earning $30,000. Like it means absolutely nothing about you. It literally just tells you where to focus on so you can really achieve the financial goals that you want to achieve. And it actually works in the way that you intended for it to work.
I love that. That is so true. And I'm definitely I took note of some of the things that you said and put them into action, just even within myself, my personal life and my business as well. Aqura, I really appreciate this conversation today with you. Can you please let my listeners know like where to find you and how to follow you on social media?
Yes, of course. You can find me over on my podcast. It's called Women Talk Money, and it's available wherever you listen to your podcast. And you can also check out my website, AquraNicholson.com. And I'm sure you'll have the spelling in the show notes, but it's AQURA Nicholson.com. Social media, Aqura Nicholson on Instagram and LinkedIn and all the places. But if you go to my website, that's a good hub for everything. So yes, you can definitely check me out there. Follow me on Instagram. Send me a DM. Let me know you listened to this episode. Let us know what you thought. So yes, I'm happy to meet you all.
Awesome. Thank you again so much for joining us today. And until next time.
Thank you so much.
That's a wrap for today's Beauty Business Breakthroughs. I hope you found these insights valuable and actionable for your beauty business. Remember, success in this industry is within your reach. If you're hungry for more and ready to take your beauty business to the next level, consider joining our Get Fully Booked Accelerator program. We are dedicated to helping beauty professionals like you achieve extraordinary success with strategies that can take your business to $10K per month and beyond. Simply send us a direct message on Instagram, Lux Beauty and Body Co., with the word success, and we'll provide you with all of the details on how you can be a part of this game-changing program. Your journey to a thriving beauty business starts now. Thank you again for tuning in, and until next time, stay inspired, stay motivated, and keep making those beauty business breakthroughs.